Welcome back to Speedweek. It's now time to head back to Phillip Island Raceway, and the Transams are on the grid.
Jeff, what makes up one of these things? They're a wild bit of gear.
Yeah, they certainly are. Roughly about 700 horsepower. Most of them are Chevs. There's a few Fords amongst it, a few Rotaries, but most are Chevs. And as I said, about 700 horsepower. A little bit of variation between the cars. The Trans Am cars, of course, the engine's further forward. They must run a gearbox in the centre of the car and a live rear end. A little bit lighter and a little bit heavier. The sports sedans are a little bit lighter, but the Trans Am to the sports sedan work very well. They're very, very even. The sports sedans, as I said, a little bit lighter. The engine is back in the centre of the car, and they run a transaxle, so the gearbox and the differential is right at the back of the car with an independent rear suspension. Our rules allow us to modify certain cars. They've got to basically derive from a road car, I suppose, is the easiest way to put that, and then we're allowed to put flares on them and body kits, as you say, but very exciting. Fastest sedan cars in Australia by far, so very, very quick.
Yeah, Jeff Boyd seems very optimistic about the year ahead, and why wouldn't he? This is a fantastic category. Great to have the support of Kerry Industrial Equipment getting right behind this. We'll talk more about them throughout the day. This is highlights of race 1. We'll show you race 2 and race 3 in their entirety, and Hossack and Ricciardello sharing the front row. Good onboard shots here. This is the Kerry onboard right now, looking out the front of Hossack's car, up against that Rain-X entry of Ricciardello. Over the top of Hayshed here, see the guy starting to close in. Bernie Gillen doing well. Wall in that great-looking Chevy Corvette. You've also got Tomasi and Baily doing very well. What a spectacular category. There is Tomasi starting to close in. Some good onboard shots. This is Randle, the 9.3 Saab. And if all Saabs look like these guys the way they present them, I'd buy one. And there is Wall, the familiar lines, the Chevy Corvette. Some good battles. Talk about a spectacular paint job on the number 28 car of Kerry Baily, the Nissan 300ZX. It is a wild-looking paint job. Do not adjust your set. That is not Glenn Seaton of yesteryear blasting around. That is Bob Gill, a magnificent-looking car, the ex-Glenn Seaton AU, alongside Gilliland in the RX-7. So checkered flag at the ready for race number 1. Ricciardello getting the win. Hossack, the defending champion, chasing him all the way. Gillen third. Wall back to Randle, Tomasi, Baily and Crompton. The Australian Tranzam Sports Series, thanks to Kerry Industrial Equipment. Race 1. Let's go to the pitch now.
Tony, we start from pole for the next one, mate. What can we expect?
Look, pretty much the same. Just stay consistent, get a good start, and it's a few laps longer this race. So just like I said, be consistent and hold Darren and the rest of the guys off.
Well, another man to look out for is Des Wall, starting 4th, mate. What can we expect?
Well, hopefully a bit better start. I didn't quite get it then. I had to lift a little bit on the line. I lost a car length to Bernie into the first corner, but it's very equal. Everyone's pretty close.
Kerry Industrial Equipment bringing you race number 2 now, the Australian Tranzam Sports Series. Oh, there's some mad-looking cars out there. What a great-looking field. I'm joined in commentary, Wayne Russell and Jeff Boyd, the man who's the category manager. Let's take a look at your grid. Ricciardello, Hossack, Gillen, Wall, Randle, Tomasi, Baily and Crompton.
Then we go back to 9th place, and you were dead right, mate. It is an absolute wild array of cars. I can't say any more, but Cam, Chambers, Gill, Gilliland, Craig, Robinson, Safaris and Bradford rounding out your top 16.
A packed grid. They come down to the start line right now. 80 kilometres an hour. They bring them up. We're on board with Randle aboard the Saab 9.3. Getting set for a start. Jeff Boyd joins us in commentary down the main straight at Phillip Island, set to go green. They're very well behaved. Ricciardello closest to camera. Hossack leading away the defending champion. Look at this huge field. Jeff, what a fantastic category.
Yeah, it certainly is. Plenty of power, very lightweight cars and very, very quick. Nearly 300 kilometres an hour at the end of the straight, and these things are just about out of control at that speed.
Some great incentives too for club level cars to come on board. The Kerry company have got right behind there a pressure cleaner up for the first club-based car across the line this weekend.
Yeah, certainly have, and it's great to have Kerry on board, and gives the local sports sedan and club level people a bit of a chance to get something out of this weekend against these top level motor cars.
Could you even fit a MasterCard between the racetrack and the bottom of the spoilers, Wayne Russell? They look mean, don't they?
Oh, they look absolutely sensational. These things, I remember going to New Zealand watching some of the Trans Ams over there, and they're just fire-breathing monsters. You're talking 800 horsepower for some of these cars.
Yeah, 780 to 800 horsepower, and as I said, very, very light cars, nearly 1,170 kilos for the sports sedan, so a lot of good power to weight ratio.
And Jeff, as you were telling us just before we went on air about this whole thing, we are expecting to see a little bit of New Zealand car side of things later in the year.
We're trying to get 3 or 4 more New Zealand cars out. Their series is finished over there this year, and they're trying to get out, as we have Bernie Gillen on the screen right now. And Bernie Gillen's been doing this series for the last 3 years, and he absolutely loves it. Great racing, and he wants more cars to come out.
Dean Randle there, the Kerry side of things are on board right now. I'm sorry, fellas, but I am a Corvette nut, and that thing looks wild.
You are biased.
Desi Wall, what a magnificent looking car. Mind you, they made more Saabs like those two guys, Randle and Hossack, have got. I reckon they'd boost sales in Australia. They look fantastic. Man, we must be talking enormous speed here.
They've touched. Sorry, Wade Open. Oh, big moment there by those two boys, and I thought it was all going to come to grief at turn 1.
Yeah, first time out in Daniel Tomasi, this car. He's just rebuilt the car, come from Sydney, and he's taken it down to Melbourne, done a beautiful job there, and he's just coming to grips with this car. As you can see, very quick straight out of the box.
Well, the Calibra is always a great looking race car, but road car, I should say, but when you put it into race car terms, it looks even better. Man, that could have been ugly, Wayne, that big touch there.
Down the inside, though, in Honda. Going to make it stick. I thought he was going to outbrake himself, but Randle made it happen.
Very nice job. He puts him one spot further back. There is the 300ZX of Baily. There's a replay of it. That's how close they got. That could have been huge.
How they actually held it together on turn 1 at 280 odd kilometres an hour, I don't know.
Here they come over the top of Lukey Heights right now. Hossack trying to run down Ricciardello. This looks very much like race 1 at this point, Jeff.
Yeah, it certainly does. Darren's just slightly off the pace this weekend, but he's really going for points. That's what he wants. And if you can't get the race win, you've got to get that second place to try and get as many points over the series, which is 5 race meetings, basically.
A very experienced competitor in various forms of motorsport. In fact, even does a bit of speedway when time allows. Does karting, and of course he was well known for his time in the V8 Supercar circle. So there is the man, the defending champion aboard the Saab, and it's owned, of course, by John Gourlay. There's a guy that must love his motorsport, Jeff.
Certainly does, and just building a new Audi now too, so it's looking really good. The gap's really closed up now, so Darren's really putting a lot of pressure on the Perth-based driver of Tony Ricciardello.
I always love that shot. Magnificent with the ocean, the open ocean out there. There's a couple of great-looking cars. This is such a fantastic category, Jeff, such a myriad. Where else would you see a Merc with a rear spoiler like that?
Certainly would, and a 350 Chev in it as well. And right behind him is the triple rotor of Chambers. So, as you say, a myriad of cars and a myriad of motors as well. But as we say, mostly Chev-based cars.
There is that magnificent paint job of Baily. Just a great looking car, the 300ZX, almost like a snakeskin kind of look about it.
Well, it virtually is a snakeskin. They actually put a sticker over the whole car. How the hell I can't even get a sticker on a normal car, let alone the whole car.
It's a bumper sticker you mean too, don't you? Well, there's the Merc just ahead of Chambers, the Casey Building Services 48. Now he's the man at the moment looking good for that Kerrick pressure washer.
Certainly is, and as we said before, it's great to see Kerrick behind and putting a little bit up to the, you might say the back runners or the club runners, and we're glad to have the club runners with us.
The Domain Prestige Homes entry just then, Randle just ahead of Baily. So some really good racing going on here. It's Tomasi, I meant to say, in the Holden Calibra. That Calibra looks mean. There's just no ground clearance, is there?
Oh, big problem. You can see he actually locked the brake up trying to turn it left, and it was very, very skatey. You can see the understeer happening there, Jeff. Got ugly.
It certainly looked like maybe a tyre deflating or something as he was coming into that right-hander, the left-hander, putting pressure on the right-hand side. Looked like maybe some sort of problem with the tyre, but we'll keep an eye on that.
See whether Tomasi gets eaten up by Baily at this point, whereas Des Wall, the Chevy Corvette, still out there at the moment. Wow, you see Tomasi open up some ground there.
Yeah, Tomasi went very wide again, so I'm sure there is some sort of problem in that front end, allowing Kerry Baily to go through. So we'll just try and keep an eye on this and see whether there is a problem on that right-hand corner, right-hand side. He seems to have trouble, smoke again, so obviously some sort of problem in that right-hand corner.
Yeah, big lock up just then again. The 22 car we're watching with interest. the Domain Prestige Homes, number 22, and starting to close right in. Another competitor just in behind there. Flat tyre, guys.
Yeah, definitely a flat tyre and on that right-hand corner. So that'll put paid to his race. Hopefully he can get it back. As you say, these cars have got no ground clearance at all, and this is doing a lot of damage to the front of that car.
Rear spoilers. Are we talking any restrictions at all? Because these guys seem to have them way up there.
Yeah, certainly is, but there is a rule, not allowed to go above the car and not allowed to be wider than the car, basically, and that keeps it in perspective.
They look fantastic. There's no doubt about that. We turn our attention back now. There it is. The Smorgon Steel, number 20 of Des Wall. Those very distinctive rear tail lights of a Corvette. You can't miss them, can you?
You certainly can't. This car was brought in from New Zealand by Des Wall, ran over in New Zealand, and the sister car to this actually ran in America and run very competitively, actually.
Just doesn't sound right to me, the Corvette being brought in from New Zealand.
But it looks about 20 foot wide at the back.
Does that make it a Corvette? That's what I want to know.
Corvette.
Well, this is a good little battle starting to form up here, Jeff. These guys really starting to go at it.
Yeah, Des Wall from Sydney, as I said, this car was brought in from New Zealand. He's still coming to grips with the car, run the car all year. Tomasi's pulled off on the infield, so that hopefully not too much damage to that car. Went back on board with the Kerry-sponsored Saab of Dean Randle.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fantastic too. It's great to see that Kerry not only have gotten behind Dean, but gotten behind the championship. Let's have a listen to this great sounding motor car. Oh, it's a great sound, isn't it?
Oh, mate, that is sensational.
There's the ex-Glen Seaton, the Tickford AU of Bobby Gill. The laps are starting to tick by now for Hossack. We're on to the final lap. Australia's coolest sounding Saab is looking to a second in this race, number 2. Ricciardello running very strongly again. The defending champ, though, looking the goods for a top 3 again, Jeff.
Yeah, it certainly does, and Darren, as I said, just wants points. If he can't get that race won, he wants to win, but if he can't get that first place, he really wants to get second and get points for the overall day.
Bernie Gillen back there in the 3rd spot. Checkered flag falls, so Ricciardello gets it over Hossack. Back to Gillen, Wall, Randle, a spirited drive. Kerry Baily, the snake in the 300ZX. Back to Crompton and Cam, rounding out the 8. The Kerrick Industrial Equipment Australian Tranzam Sports Series.
Darren, this battle between you and Tony's been going on all weekend.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we're pretty much our speed's fairly similar, but Tony's got a little bit on us this weekend, which we're narrowing the gap. I don't know how, because we didn't change anything, but the last race we're a bit closer, so hopefully this one we can push him into a mistake, but I haven't seen him make a mistake yet, so I don't know if it ever happens.
We had a bit of a push in the front of the car in the first race, so we made some changes to fix it. It went worse, so we've gone back where we started from, plus a bit further back. Really, the car in the second race was really, really hard to drive, and Des really pressured me, got on my tail, and hopefully in this race we head in the right direction. I get a bit of a buffer on Des and catch up to the front guys.
Cars are out on the raceway now for race number 3 here at the Island. Daniel Gibson earlier in the day went into the pits with tongue hanging out, and look at some of these incredible machines. Spoke to the drivers about some of the exotica on show.
This is the original Tickford car that Glenn actually had a bit of a accident down here at turn 12 coming onto the main straight here a couple of years ago, and I saw the car at Sandown and I looked at it and I thought I could fix that, so I eventually fixed it and now brought it back to what Glenn had it. So it's a good little car, and it just motors around. It's apparently, we weighed it, and it's 1,515 kilos with the geriatric driver behind it, and it goes very well.
It's been driven by Alan Moffat and John Harvey over in Europe. It's also been the Peter Brock 05 car in 1987. It was never actually raced, but it is a genuine Brock car as well. And a lovely car, a lot of history. I've raced it as a sports sedan many years ago, and unfortunately a good car did an engine today, so I went and got it out of the garage and put some petrol in it.
Yeah, it's time for race number 3 now of the Kerrick Industrial Equipment Australian Tranzam Sports Series. There's the vet. Oh, there's the vet.
Settle down.
Great looking cars and just a myriad of motorsport vehicles. Let's take a look at your grid now for race number 3.
Yeah, we go to Ricciardello, Hossack, Gillen, Wall, Randle, Baily, Crompton and Cam are your top 8 to start with. But what a race this is turning out to be.
Alfas, Saabs, Honda Preludes, Nissans, Holden Geminis, EB Falcons, the X-Glen Seaton AU, RX-7s, Calibras, Mercedes 450s. It is a great category, backed of course by our friends at Kerry. And there is Bobby Gill at number 5, ex-Seaton AU. And the 51 car also out there, Stephen Craig. And the Holden Gemini set for a start. 80 Ks is the limit. Hossack closest to the wall as they come down towards Phillip Island's start-finish line.
Very well behaved as they get the green flag. They're off and racing.
It was a very well-behaved start. Obviously, Jeff, you guys beat them with a big stick if they don't behave.
No, I beat them with a big stick. That's my job, is to control it and make sure that they do the right job, and they've done a beautiful job in this series.
Look at Wall right on the very outer of the racetrack just then. It can get ugly if you drop a wheel off there. You just see Gill there in that AU. Back in the field there is the Merc. The Merc chasing the Gemini. Something's wrong with that picture.
Hey, the Corvette is 3rd place.
Loving that.
Yeah, got to be happy.
And look at this, Hossack has the lead. So Hossack, good job in the Saab over the Alfa of Ricciardello, back to the Corvette of Wall. We then go back to the Mustang of Gillen, back to another Saab of Randle, and the Nissan 300ZX. The Snake is doing very well. It's a top 5 as well. This is good stuff.
Certainly is, and Roger Williams in the Mercedes, you mentioned him earlier. He's all the way from New Zealand as well, and he's had a terrible weekend. Problems all the time for Roger, but he'll get this car going. And a Chev power plant in that as well, but problems all weekend, so hopefully you get it sorted out as Ricciardello's right on the back of Hossack now, and probably have a look up the inside.
Ooh,
thinks better of it.
well
They just
close.
followed him through onto the main straight.
Good racing though between these two. I get the feeling Hossack is going to have his hands full. Right now he's got nothing in the mirror but a red and yellow smear, because Ricciardello is going to make him work for this, I'm sure. You've got to be happy with the vast difference of motor cars out there in this field, Jeff.
Yeah, certainly have, and with the inclusion of Trans Am cars into this sports sedans, you might say, adding the two together really has put depth into the category, and it's made the cars available. You can get them from North America or America and New Zealand, so plenty of cars available to add to this series as it goes on.
Hossack, you can see sliding through turn 1 there, just getting out a little bit, but he's hanging on to 1st place very nicely, turning it left. How smooth is that? But Ricciardello having a big look now.
Well, that was a great look up the inside, but this is going to be the problem now because we're heading towards a sweeping left hand. Ah, they touch there for sure. Look at how much stuff is on the racetrack now. Someone's gone off the course and dragged all manner of agricultural supplies all over the circuit. That'll make it interesting under brakes, Wayne.
Hossack did a great job there with that amount of gravel all over the road. You were going to be the sheep that was going in there first, and if you got it wrong, everyone else was going to capitalise.
I totally agree with you. You can just see now Ricciardello starting to really turn the heat up on Hossack now. Long shadows. Oh, he got him.
Bluffed him through. Hossack gave him the room.
The 3-card trick, Jeff.
Yeah, certainly did, and really looked like Hossack went a little bit wide, which he maybe looked in his mirror to see where he was going to go and went a little bit wide and allowed Tony to go through. Des Wall now starting to put pressure. No problems for Hossack. Obviously some sort of problem, slowed dramatically there, so allowed Des Wall to go through, and it looks like Bernie Gillen and Dean Randle. Randle right on the back of Bernie Gillen as well, so the second of our Saab's going very well.
I think you guys were just confused with the blistering speed of the Corvette, fellas. That was what was going on. Desi's the man. Randle started to close in though, as you said, and there was Hossack returning to pit lane, disappointingly so. He was really looking good for a race 3 win. Now, you talked about how consumed he is by the points and by the championship. This is going to hurt a DNF, Jeff, in the last race of the day.
Yeah, it certainly does, and one race out in this series, 5-round series, 3 races per round, and it really does hurt. It makes it very difficult to catch up, especially if Ricciardello stays on the pace, as he usually is, and he'll be looking for that elusive number 1 plate.
Now Desi Wall starting to close in a little bit now, and you can see Gillen right behind and Randle, so a good little battle or skating across the marbles. In fact, I think Randle had a problem there. You guys are off to Queensland Raceway for the next round of the championship.
Yeah, certainly are, and as we know, Queensland Raceway is very open. This will allow the Trans Am cars to really put pressure on the sports sedans a little bit more than Phillip Island. They stop very well, they get out of corners very well, and it'll allow these two fellas here here to really put pressure on the sports sedans.
I like those Transams. I just reckon they look mean.
The way they hang on to the racetrack too is quite incredible. Over the top of Lukey now comes your race leader, Tony Ricciardello, back there in second spot. Des Wall in third is the magnificent-looking Mustang. We just see then the 300ZX going by.
Yeah, Kerry Baily's a little bit out of it this weekend. He just can't quite get the pace going this weekend. As we see Daniel Tomasi doing a good job too. Remember, he went out on race 2 with a flat tyre and obviously no damage there. Now putting a lot of pressure on Phil Crompton. The Mustang from Queensland doing a good job. The Trans Am, that's the Australian version of the Trans Am with the injected engine, whereas the normal car has the carburetted engine.
It looks fantastic, doesn't it? Left-hand drive as they storm down the straightaway of Phillip Island. What is very interesting about all this, apart from the magnificent creation he's driving, is it's got free Chappelle Corby down the side. So he's making a bit of a political statement. Amazing.
Oh, look at that though, guys. Side by side, turn one gets ugly, but they both held it nicely and gave each other a little bit of room.
I have never seen anything like that before with the motorsport side of things, but well, fair enough. There is the Mercedes. Things are getting worse for the Kiwi, unfortunately, Jeff.
Yeah, Roger Williams, unfortunately, that really looks terminal to me, and it looks like the Chev has given up a bit of flame out the bottom, so obviously oil there, so it doesn't look real good for the 700 horsepower odd engine. It looks sad.
Only way it could get worse is if someone pitches the Mercedes badge, and that generally happens if you're not careful. Flame licking out the side of the number 48 car, the KC Building Services, number 48 of Luke Chambers, the Mazda RX-7 Series 4, and that guy is looking down the barrel to take home one of our sponsor products, the pressure cleaner, this weekend.
Yeah, certainly has, and Kerry have put in a nice pressure cleaner, so he'll be able to keep that car nice and tidy for the first state-level car home.
There is that entry of Des Wall. Your race leader is still Ricciardello. Gillen back in a third spot. The TKR entry, the Cobra. Looks mean.
Bernie's got a little bit of history, actually, because he raced with me back in '94 at Bathurst in the V8 Supercars.
Doing a good job to put Wall under some pressure here as well. So obviously he's been around the traps, Wayne, that's for sure, and not too fussy about his teammates. There's something else with him. Randle back and forth. Ricciardello has kicked clear. Randle lost a bit of ground under heavy braking in the marbles before and hasn't really been able to bridge this gap, Jeff.
No, he certainly hasn't, but Dean Randle's starting to play into this argument as well, so there's going to be a three-way tussle to the end of this race, I think, and it looks like Bernie Gillen's really putting pressure. Has a look down the inside. Look at the marbles on the inside. Can he make it stick? He locks the brake up and goes very, very wide, and Des Wall thought, well, gee, I think I'll brake early here and get out of this because this is going to be messy.
Well, Wall's been around a time or two. Amazing that you could think in that part of the course that Gillen nearly hit a wall.
Yes. Well, what's happened there, you can see that he's hit the marbles, all the stones on the side of the track, or on the track, I should say, and Des Wall obviously knew that he was going to spare straight ahead, so Des has got off the gas, hit the brakes pretty early, and made it all happen. But poor old Bernie Gillen spared off.
Well, Gill just flying by then. The Gemini, the 51 of Stephen Craig, has got a bit of TV time today. They go by the stricken Mercedes, that beautiful ex-Glen Seaton entry, just missing the word Jayco across the rear. That would completely set it off. Mind you, look at Randle coming back at Wall now.
Yeah, a lot of pressure here. Des Wall really needs the points. Of course, all the points over this weekend come from 3 races throughout the day, so he really needs points. And Randle right behind him at the moment, very, very close on points. They've finished virtually one behind the other all weekend. If Randle can get in front, he could eclipse Wall on points this weekend.
What a good battle this is turning out to be. You're watching the Kerry Industrial Equipment Australian Tranzam Sports Series here from Phillip Island. We're into the last lap now. The battle for second is on in earnest. Ricciardello has the lead. Randle really putting it to Des Wall, Wayne Russell.
Yeah, let's see if we have an inside move coming into Honda. You can see Randle goes inside. Will he do the same thing as Bernie Gillen? No, he gets it through the corner. You can see Des Wall tried for the switchback but got balked.
Well, Randle a lot cleaner on the move just then, was able to keep the car on the course. Wall slowed up a little bit and allowed him some room. He obviously doesn't want to crease the car, and who could blame him? A little bit of smoke out the back of Randle's car, but it's not affecting his performance, Jeff.
No, it doesn't seem to be, but Des Wall may be going away on tyres a little bit. These cars have to run the same tyres throughout qualifying and 3 races, so maybe his tyres are just getting a little bit tired at the end of the race, and he thought better to allow Randle through. Well, not that he made it real easy for him, but at least keep the car straight.
The B&M Ricciardello number 5 Alfa Romeo entry is meanwhile steamrolling towards an inevitable victory here year. 3 wins from 3 starts. No surprises there. Certainly has the runs on the board. Ricciardello will get the final race of the day thanks to Kerry Industrial Equipment, the Tranzam Sports Series. He will get the win from Randle in second. Well done. Back to Wall, Tomasi, Gillen, Baily, Crompton and Chambers. What a great day at the island for the Australian Tranzam Sports Series.
Well, Tony, that was a good result, mate.
Yeah, really pleased with the effort. We got a good jump on Darren at the start and just pretty much kept some good pace through the race, and yeah, the car just stuck together and was really great.
Well, a great result for club-based racer Luke Chambers. He scores himself a Kerry Industrial pressure washer thanks to our friends at Kerry. Turning our attention to the points now, an unbeaten Ricciardello in round 1 has 60 points. We then go back to Gillen, and what a battle between Des Wall and Randle. They are tied on 3rd. We then go back to Hossack, and rounding out the field in the top 5 or 6 is Baily. Some great stuff there from the Tranzams. We're looking forward to following their championship throughout the weeks ahead. Coming up after the break, we're going to be joined by Ty Hanger, one of the rising stars of the Australian F4000 Championship, and the supercars are ahead in the program as well. All that and more on Speedweek.